What up, y'all? Yes, I am hosting, and welcome to Daytime Talk After Dark. I'm your host today, your lucky host, Al Jackson. I am joined by two of not only my best friends, but of the loveliest ladies that I've ever met in my life. You guys have brought joy and sunshine for almost a decade, and I love you guys. Let me introduce you guys to those that don't know. Now you know my girl Erica Cobb, schoolgirl Erica Cobb. You should have a backpack with you.
Yes.
She's dealing with midterms, y'all.
Yes.
I'm in midterms.
Talk to us. What is that?
It means that we're halfway done. Isn't that crazy?
With your Goldman Sachs program.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs, NYU, halfway done, coming up with the business plan now.
What's your favorite class?
Well, so we do modules.
Oh.
I think when we did creating a buyer persona, it was near and dear to my heart because, you know, in media, we often are speaking to someone who we've created in our mind, whether we're really speaking to them or not. And the idea of a buyer persona is a lot like that. Who is your target client, the demo, creating a whole space for them. So I really enjoyed that module.
Oh.
Who is the person for you? Do you have a buyer?
I do have a buyer. Yeah.
I don't think she wants to.
No, I can tell. Let's move on.
Her name is Gladys. Well, we are going to move on to another person that I love, Tori Schulman,
Oh my God,
who
hi.
is not in school.
No, I came back from New York though.
Yeah.
And I just have to say, if you're from New York, I lived there for 3 years. I'm just saying, I can't handle New York.
You can't.
No, I can't. First of all,
But you've handled it. You lived there for 3 years.
I couldn't handle it now.
Yeah. I
The
understand.
chaos that it was, and I was there for 24 hours, was like within a matter of a minute, I saw like a unicyclist, someone get hit by a car, and a garbage man like dancing, and then someone being like, "That's Miley Cyrus," and it wasn't, but someone was like sitting on a parking lot sign, and
Close enough.
I couldn't. Yeah, it was too much. Anyway, I love New York, but I was overwhelmed, but I loved it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, where were you? Camped out in Times Square? All of New York isn't like that. My block was pretty quiet.
I was by the actually right by the World Trade Center memorial.
Okay.
I looked out to the memorial pool, so our hotel was right there, which was beautiful. And I actually studied. Part of my art history was studying what do you call them? Memorial gardens or memorial sculptures, things like Vietnam Memorial, and that one was particularly touching. So,
Which memorial did you focus on when you were in school?
Vietnam Memorial.
What could you tell us about that memorial that we don't know?
So there's an architectural contest that went out, and it was anonymous, and thousands of people put in their idea, an architect, a model for the Vietnam War Memorial. They picked it not knowing, and it was a 20-year-old Asian woman, and they couldn't believe it, and her name was Maya Lin. And her idea was a black stone. No one had ever thought of anything like this, with the names etched in so that when you walked by your reflection, you were seeing the names in you. And it leads you all the way up to the Washington Monument, and it gets bigger and bigger until you're overwhelmed like an ocean of names. It is by far my favorite memorial. If I say favorite, I mean
Right.
the most touching, you
Yeah.
know, the most interesting. And there was a protest to stop Miss Lin, and she graduated. I think she was at Yale Architecture School at the time, and now it's one of the most famous pieces.
I
My
think
dad used to take us there every year.
Is that right?
Really?
And we would sketch his buddy Fitzpatrick on his name.
Yeah, you can find the names there, and you do a rubbing, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody that's anti-diversity and inclusion, it's that example. There's good ideas out there everywhere, and they don't necessarily come in the vessel that you have decided
Totally
that this
agree.
is what this person needs to look like, a 50-year-old architect with his glasses at the end of his nose. Sometimes it's a 20-year-old Asian woman that has this brilliant idea that will literally touch every American and every human being that walks past it and experiences it long after we're gone. So
Totally agree.
This segment sponsored to you by DEI. They are, you know, they're people like, I knew it. They're pushing an agenda.
Oh my God!
All right. Well,
my God.
let's get to our agenda. The first, we're going to talk about former President Donald Trump. I don't think we've ever talked about him on the show. I hope
don't
you
know
guys.
who
I
that
hope
is.
you guys prepared yourselves.
Who is that again?
I know it's weird, right?
It's like,
Yeah.
who are you
Yeah.
talking to?
I always think because I always used to think, like, who's the most popular person in our country? Like, at the time, it was probably Oprah or somebody that you think there. But I always think there's got to be somebody that doesn't know, like some logger in
doesn't
Alaska lives in a town of like 13 people. Is like, I don't know. He just shoots his own food and like, just like I always wonder if there's anybody that doesn't know Donald Trump, but some people that do know him are the people that showed up at his town hall. It was going according to plan until 2 town hall attendees became ill of some sort, too. And as that was kind of being taken care of, sorted out, he decided to unveil his playlist, which Obama's done and every political candidate does. I would say the only difference, Erica and Tori, is that he decided to play his playlist, the whole playlist. And he stood on stage and he danced
For how long, Al?
29 minutes.
Not 29 minutes.
Erica, 29. And we throw out
Not
things.
29 minutes.
We throw out like, Erica, I've been waiting for you for a half an hour, but it hasn't been that in real time. It's been like maybe 14 minutes. 29 minutes is a sitcom. That is a long time.
That's not a sitcom. A sitcom really taps in at like
21,
22
yeah.
with commercials,
29.
maybe 21.
I was seeing an Instagram and someone was doing a time code of it, and the people behind him at first were like, "Oh," and then they were like, "Oh," and then they were like exhausted. It was like 14 minutes in, and he's still going.
And that's a jazzercise.
That is like a Zumba class.
Yes, or a quick spin class, however you want to look, however you want to break it down. But it did make me, I had this weird flashback because everything kind of unlocks a memory for me that I haven't thought about. For me, I had an interesting college experience. I went to an all-black college. I went to an Ivy League school. And
Weird
when I was
flex.
at my all-black college, Tougaloo College, Jackson, Mississippi, shout out, my freshman year, there was like a poem or a poetry contest. And one of the students decided that she was going to read the I Have a Dream speech, which is beautiful. The way you guys are reacting, like, nah, that speech is long as F.
Oh.
And after a while, people were like, oh, she's reading the whole thing.
Oh no, she
And
has a dream.
Even though it's MLK, everybody was like, pick it up. You know, just like,
You have a dream, you have a dream, you have a dream.
We got it. And it was, so, I mean,
Do you have do you remember how long is the runtime for I Have a Dream?
oh, it,
That's a good question.
well, at least the section that she read, and maybe she didn't read the whole thing. I mean, she was up there for at least 20 minutes. It was a read, and she was not just skimming through it. She was trying to add the right intonations at the right
Yeah.
part, pausing for effect. It's a beautiful speech, but in the cafeteria, everybody's like, "Hey, brah,
You gotta move.
come on now."
You gotta move.
Yeah,
You
so
gotta
I
keep
mean,
it moving.
29 minutes. What do you think that was? Because he's not a showman in that because the first time I saw him dance is when he had COVID and came back and he was pumped up on those steroids, those
You remember
military steroids. And I was like,
Bill Maher plays it every episode.
he is feeling no pain. Like I've never seen, because Trump was very stoic up until that
stood
point.
there like this.
Yes, I
Yeah.
had never seen him dance. So to see him dance for a half an hour straight,
Yeah.
I mean, shows he's in good health.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I kind of question if it's also daring more artists to come out against him, stating that they don't want him playing their songs.
No, he did play Guns N' Roses, and I was wondering if they were going to say something because a lot of people have come out against him using certain things. And he did start the whole dance thing by saying they don't want to hear these questions at a town hall. They're there.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason they're there.
But Erica, you brought up something. Is weird. I'm such a nerd. I did read an article about the Village People
Yeah, the
today.
YMCA
Wh-
issue.
Yes. Well, it used to be an issue.
Right.
They used to push back about Trump playing YMCA.
He loves that song, by the
at
way.
their at his rallies, and have for 4, 6, 8 years. And now they're starting to say we're okay with it because he has a lot of followers, and they have downloaded it and streamed YMCA. And
Village
yeah,
People. Those people, it's like a gay anthem.
yeah, Tori, what do I say? Check cleared.
Dude.
And but
That's not
honestly,
right.
but we are capitalists, Tori.
Oh,
so are you
man.
going to push this money aside,
Yes.
or are you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you do, Erica? Let's say it was. Don't tell me the name of your song because it's on my laptop because I'm making a remix for you. Radio Girl.
Comeback Queen.
Yeah, Comeback Queen. And let's say that Trump got a hold of that, and he was like, even though it says Comeback Queen, he's like, I like this. And you're like, I do not want Donald Trump using my song. And then your husband goes, did you see the check that just came? And it's got 5 zeros in it. Does that take a little steam out of your next Instagram post saying stop using my song? Because it would to me.
You're
If Donald Trump wanted to use Comeback Queen, there would be so many follow-up questions before I ever thought about the money.
I don't know.
Let me be very clear. And BT Dubs, I have said bye to money before for reasons that...
Morals?
Yes, for morality reasons.
It's called morals.
Is there a point where the morality stops and the checking account starts? Because there is for me.
Guys, write in right now. I'm looking at YouTube. What's your number? You're asking what your number is.
Right.
What's your number? So write in.
What's the
as she's
number
talking.
to sell your soul?
That's right.
But you're not selling it. You didn't sell it directly to
That's
him. You're not
exactly-
Martin Scarelli, who the Wu-Tang Clan made one album for,
No.
and he paid for it. This is just something you put out in the public. He is a member of the public. One could say you not liking that he listens to your music is discriminatory.
I wouldn't say not liking that
Or using,
it's
excuse me.
listening to the music. I think what it comes down to with just anything with a creative license, like that song is very personal to me. What I would be essentially be doing is saying that, hey, you can use this song so that it's synonymous with you and your agenda, which by far would ever usurp, like always usurp me and my platform. So would I be willing is really the question, like, what's the number to give up a song that is about my comeback journey
Right.
to someone else?
He's trying to come back to the presidency.
Dude, you are stretching like Gumby. All right, here's what. That is a real
Wait, Tori,
stretch.
what about you?
Okay, well, I'll read what other people say. Someone said no amount. That says Damiana. Lee now says I'm with Al if it's high enough.
Thank you.
ELC says infinity. And then Christina Adams says I need 5 zeros. No amount of money, this is Megan, Alexander would make me want to sell my soul to him. I would let him use it if he dropped out.
Well, okay.
That's her number.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But when that check comes in, it's an auto deposit. So you have to actively take it out and return it. I want to see where everybody's
man.
morals are. Tori, where are your morals? Erica's established she's
Okay.
a better person than I am.
I think we knew that already,
Yes.
like going in. I think we knew that. I will say this. I don't think you can allow a gay anthem to someone who spouts anti-LGBTQ rhetoric. I think that's a really hard win and a hard idea. Now, having said that, you have always been right in a lot of ways after I think about it after a while. And I'm like, could the money be enough? I don't know. Like a Montana ranch house would be lovely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I don't think I could do it. No, I don't think I could.
Really?
No,
Okay.
I would want to save the dog. You know, I couldn't do it. I would want to save my morals and my dogma and all that.
All right. Well.
What about you?
Yes.
Okay.
What? Like
What's your number?
I do have an album out. You can pick it up. It's my fake group called I May Unblock You. My second album will be coming out soon. Whatever. If
No.
No, I'm saying if they're streaming numbers and it's every month, an extra 10 grand.
Would you do that to a racist person?
I believe he is racist. I believe there is a part of that in all of us. I think that there's a discrimination and like we always want to say this person is this person is racist. I think we are all beautiful and gross at the same time in different ways, in different places in our life. We are selfish. We are giving in certain parts. I'm not making an excuse for Donald Trump. I'm talking strictly about myself and about how I view humanity. The idea of him using one of my songs when he walks on stage, honestly, won't probably sway the election either way, even though my music's great. But I do think that could change the trajectory of my kids' lives. And isn't that what I'm tasked to do as their father? So
Well, aren't you tasked to show them also to stand up straight and have morals and not sell your soul?
I don't know if that's a great lesson
Fair,
to teach your
fair.
kids because
I
I
don't
think
have
that,
kids, so I don't
No, I don't know if that's always
Right.
the way to go. I think ideally, but I think that this world and this, especially I can only speak to this country, you are forced to do things that you may not want to do. You're forced to do things that you may not feel great about. But, if you ran a snowplow business, do you think that everybody's driveway that you're plowing is a huge fan of something that you support? Probably not. But you are and you put something out in the public, whether you plow people's driveways or you make music, that's for the public. And the public is going to consume it unless you're saying, I only want this certain section to engage with it and nobody else can. Because then you're bordering on illegality.
Well, Leo says, Al is the man, very intelligent, but Colette Europe says, I disagree with you, Al.
Good. I like that.
I know.
Disagreement is what makes the world go round.
I know.
Yes. All right. And Colette, right in. I want to hear, we'll try and get to it at the end. I want to hear what she disagrees with.
Yeah.
Speaking of people disagreeing, Olivia Nuzzi and her ex-fiance.
I think it's Newsy. It's time for Newsy News.
It's Nuzzi, and how dare you connect me? How dare you correct me on her last name?
It's
because
not Newsy.
last week you took this woman's last name and you smeared it. I mean, just took it outside of a bar and tuned it up. So how dare you correct me on Olivia Nuzzi?
It's Newsy News time.
Yes, and if you don't know her, she's very quickly, she's a reporter who got in some trouble because she was doing a story to cover RFK Jr., doing kind of a piece on him. And in the middle of that,
oopsies,
they became an item, at least online, not online, a text emotional.
It was an inappropriate dalliance.
Ooh, good word,
Erica. I think somebody just watched Bridgerton last. What is a what?
Kind sir, will you dally with me?
Yes.
Only in text
well,
messages.
let me tell Erica about this dalliance.
Okay.
She claims that she was manipulated by RFK, who is now part of Trump's team, and she states.
Say Junior. Separate the two.
RFK Jr.
Thank
excuse
you.
me.
Put some spin on the man's
for
name.
besmirching the name.
Thank you.
Nuzzi said in New York Magazine. Well, she said after she did the piece on him in New York Magazine that he texted her he wanted to possess, control, and impregnate her.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that for a dalliance?
Okay, so I guess I'm confused
Say those
because
the 3 words, let me say it again
one
so
more
you're
time.
not confused.
Okay.
Possess, control, and impregnate. Yes, he apparently they were having a texting emotional affair.
He knows that you can't get someone pregnant over
Well,
text.
wait a minute. Okay, I guess I'm a little confused that she's saying that he manipulated her.
Yes.
Like, is that before or after him telling her that he wanted to possess her? Like, is it like I'm confused. So what's the point of her?
What was she manipulated about?
I would say that to clear up that confusion, this is known as CYA, cover your you-know-what, because she's got to have some comeback to this. She can't just say, yeah, I'm a person that cannot be trusted. I have low morals, and I was cheating on my
That's a pretty
fiance.
crappy excuse.
What she's saying is, oh, he was so famous, I just couldn't handle myself.
Yeah, she has to say nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
She has to say nothing at this point. I mean, clearly there was a lapse of judgment.
Can it be a lapse if it's a year?
Well, I'm saying, like, at this point, so clearly she didn't do the right thing. She didn't make the right choice.
Yes.
And now she's paying for it. I don't think you come back weeks later and it's like, well, I was manipulated.
Right.
And don't get me wrong. Like, I do think that there are definitely examples and times where people abuse their power. There's vulnerability in some spot, like people, that's the thing, like people who prey on other people can see their prey from a mile away. So there are times where I'm like, like it sucks that, as an adult, you may not necessarily have the capacity to see this coming. Now you're in a weak spot, you're vulnerable, you make a wrong decision. And now you have to pay the consequences of that wrong decision, regardless of how many years before you made the right decision. That does happen. But I think at this point, when you're caught up in something that's going around the internet ecosystem at this point, either you come out and say, dude, I didn't do the right thing. I was flattered by the attention of this person.
I would respect that so much more.
I
People
in
are saying
hindsight-
preach. Continue.
Yeah, well, I mean, in hindsight, would I have done this if I was thinking clearly about it? Clearly, I wasn't thinking clearly about it. It sucks that, and I mean, I could even say to go so far, like, because it does suck for a lot of people. Like, think about
including her fiance and his
Right.
wife.
right? And you make a decision, and you're like, damn, like 25 years I haven't made a decision like this, and I did something like that. Like, you're checking yourself, but if you're going to come out and say something, check yourself too.
Right.
I agree
Otherwise,
with
don't
that.
say anything.
She also was saying that she was being blackmailed by the publisher and like a guy that works for Trump now. So she's blaming a lot. And if I've learned anything from you about comeback is you can step in it, but if you don't earn that comeback yourself the right way, it won't be a sustainable comeback. And right now she's in panic, I would think. Panic.
Yeah.
She's in panic mode and she needs to be quiet. I think she needs to sit down. I do want to say one thing.
Please.
Ethel Kennedy.
Say many things.
Oh, thanks. Ethel Kennedy passed away. And I just wanted to say that over the week I think it was October 10th, she is the mother to Robert F. Kennedy. And I just wanted to give a shout out because she was a matriarch of beautiful values and a beautiful family. And she deserves a passing word. So may she rest in power. You guys know I'm not good when people pass away.
Right, no.
I can't
Tori
do it.
hasn't gotten
can't
better
ad-lib.
at this,
Right.
but it's
Well,
okay. We understand the sentiment.
Okay, anyway.
Well, what do you
And may
think?
she rest in
What do you
peace.
think about Olivia? Because I wonder, can you say I've made it to almost the pinnacle of my profession? You're working for the New Yorker magazine. You get the premier story, which is the lead piece on an RFK, and now on RFK Jr. and who's very much within the public zeitgeist. So can you then say, I don't know what's happening,
No,
like
you say
you're a
nothing.
child lost at the circus
No,
or
you
something?
say nothing. You hush your mouth because
Or
the
do
news
you say
cycle.
something?
No, maybe you say what she said, but the news cycle will move on. What you're doing is
point.
keeping yourself in this, and I don't
And
understand.
she should know that.
Yeah, she's part of this
sure.
publication. She's also, on leave right now. She hasn't been fired, so maybe try and find some salvation and write about it. Write a cool article about it. Figure it out, but don't do this. This isn't working, and our audience agrees.
All right.
And our audience.
Well, speaking of not working, we're going to transition into Love is Blind,
Oh, now we're
a show that we all love and the world has fallen in love with. And what's not working, a lot of people are saying, is the casting of the menfolk.
the dudes.
Oh man.
There have been, last week, if you joined us, and we appreciate you guys doing that, we profiled, what was the black
Black
gentleman's
Well,
Steven.
name?
we profiled a few. We profiled Ashley and Tyler. Tyler is half black, half Serbian. Ashley is a young black woman, and they had just met her father when he decided to inform her that he could potentially have 3, as he called them, sperm babies.
He has 3, 2 girls and a boy.
Yeah, 3. Well, yes, but there's more to the story. So yeah, we talked about Tyler. We talked about Garrett, and we talked about
Wait, is that Garrett with the cute couple, the smart ones?
Taylor.
The hot ones.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
Okay.
So we talked about a few people.
Yeah,
but-
those two are
Okay,
cute.
so what are we saying? That
Well,
none of the men
just-
have
just just fans of them. Well, the gentleman that we're talking about now, the guy that I guess to some people presented white, but then found out
Black
he was
Stephen, yes.
Black Stephen. He was
That hair.
He was
Stephen found out, for context, that he thought that he was a white man his entire life, and he discovered that his father was, as he said, 3/5 black. I know for those of you who are a little older
There was
or
a lot
more
of issues
tapped
with
in,
things that were said.
3/5 of a person is historically not great.
Right.
And
And
but
he
then
said it because
as
he
we-
didn't know that.
Right.
He
but
said it- he's an
as
idiot.
we
He wasn't
know-
trying
He's
to
an
troll.
idiot.
He did not know.
He doesn't
didn't
know. He doesn't
but
know.
he did get a lot of books to find out about his newly found black heritage. That's what he said.
He said that.
That's why Monica was so in love with him.
I know.
She thought that was really impressive.
Very
I was
that
special.
very
he,
disappointed in that.
he read books about his African heritage.
They-
By the way, one of the men's new profile on Instagram is 5/5 because it's a joke on the 3/5, which is really funny. Now I just figured that out.
I looked at both of them dancing around their heritage, and they're like, well, I'm 29% Cameroonian. I'm like, let me tell you, here's 23andMe before all that. Go to
Cameroon.
a clan or biker rally, and you ask them what you are, and that'll explain everything. All these percentages and fractions of a person.
What's a drop of blood? Remember that?
Yeah, yeah. And that's because that's how people feel and
Exactly
felt.
right, exactly
So I don't know. I just felt like she really gave him a lot of props for
A
like
lot.
he went out and found out
Books.
about his culture.
Yeah.
But Erica, we're not even talking about that.
No, but I would like to also add, I can tell when you black when I see your hair.
Yeah,
Brother.
Come on, man. Come on, dog.
I was like,
Yeah, that was.
that's weird.
He
That
was just
was
like,
weird.
I'm Italian. I'm like, okay.
Then why does everybody always say that they're Italian?
Mamma mia!
Like, why is it Italian?
Because it's a mix. I don't know.
Well,
That's true.
because you can because
know, that's true.
Italian, you can say I'm very, very Sicilian, and I am. That explains my darker complexion.
see.
That's a way for you to get around
Like pass a little.
explaining your complexion without having to claim black in any
Wow.
way. And so that got him through the first 30 years of his life. He clearly didn't-
Apparently,
he
I want to
clearly-
see what his daddy looked like.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
reason I
Oh.
was most disappointed that they broke up because we never saw the daddy.
Right. Yes.
I want to see the
No,
daddy.
I thought they'd at least show a picture, like an old school picture that we'd get a picture. We saw none of that.
An old school picture, like a black and white.
Yeah, like
or-
I wanted to see what his they
His
show
parent-
baby pictures.
Like what his parents look
yeah,
like.
I wanted to see that. From
Right.
I did want to
His
see
dad's
that.
the guitarist in the Delphonics. He's Italian.
That's Barry Gordy. What are you talking about? I do also want to bring this up because it was big on Love Is Blind. And again, a lot of you are saying we don't watch the show. If you have nothing to do and you have Netflix, it really is quite entertaining to watch. But
And I will say this, Tori,
Yeah,
for
please.
anybody that hasn't watched the show, don't leave us because really what we're doing is we're using the show as a jumping off
Yeah,
point for conversation. So we're not doing any insight or anything.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right. We're not exactly. A lot of the time spent is the camera coming up to people after a big argument or text from an ex, but they seemingly don't capture it on camera. And that's been a big thing this year that you like, for instance, the huge fight that they had where she covered his mouth. I forget their names now. They're
Alex and Tim.
Alex and
yes.
Tim, right. And he's like, you made me feel like a fool. I would have loved to have seen that fight.
See, a lot of people were speculating that she put his hands on him.
Yeah, and then that's why.
And I don't know if they didn't catch it or
I
if they
see.
just didn't show
I
it.
see, because there was a lot of talk about that, but then there was another. They didn't explain when Tyler suddenly had 3 kids. We didn't see that discussion. It was the
Yeah.
aftermath. So people are like, is this a new way of reality show where you don't see? Do you think they're just missing these big moments?
Well, I do want to. I think everything. I don't think they miss a thing.
Right.
I don't think they miss a thing.
So it's just on.
I think that we are in a new age where the people that are on these reality shows are hyper aware of their public persona
Sure.
currently and moving forward. And I think that they are using their leverage with
Yeah.
the producers to say,
Cut it?
if you do this, we walk.
I
If
see.
you show this, we
No,
walk because
no,
I thought the same thing at
why
first.
wouldn't a producer trying to put on
no.
entertaining shows?
Nah,
why
see-
would they take that out?
See, I know that you have your reality TVs that you like, but I am like so deep in reality TV, especially when it comes to like Bravo and stuff. And the number one thing you do not do is threaten a producer because the producer has final word. And the easiest way to get a villain edit is to say what you will and will not do. So I feel like if there was some of that going on, saying like, if you will walk, first of all, you'd have to get the entire delegation to walk. And that's never going to happen because people are a part of reality TV for very different reasons. Like, especially on this show, some people are there because they actually do want to find love. Some people want to find that,
Followers.
400,000 Instagram
Yeah,
followers.
totally. The
Right.
clout.
Or like 1 million TikTok followers. Some people just want to have their name out there. So for that reason, I would have to disagree with that. I don't think that it has to do with, I think especially in this experiment, there becomes a time where they're not with them 24/7. There is some downtime. And that
That's a
as
good
a
point.
result of that,
They miss it.
you miss something.
See, I was thinking that, but then I thought there's no way. Now, Damiana, along with several others, are writing in, the fight's going to probably be shown at the reunion. So I wonder if it's a way to get us to watch the reunion.
I don't think they want to show that fight.
That fight, I
If
agree
there
with.
was
It
a physical, I mean, even I don't care if it's the man putting his hands on the woman or the woman putting her hands on the man. I don't think they want that brand.
Yeah.
Of,
Especially because they got sued last year because there was a person they didn't show that felt that they were being held against their will in the apartment and producers weren't helping. So that's interesting that perhaps they're protecting themselves that way.
yeah.
But then he clearly said it. He was like, you put your hands on me. So good for him to at least get his story out there, I guess.
Well, I wanted to ask this question to you guys and to our audience, and it does have to do with Love is Blind, but almost not really. We talked on it briefly. No, I wouldn't even say briefly. We spoke about it last week with Tyler with the three sperm.
Tyler and
Tyler
Ashley, yes.
and Ashley and the three sperm babies, which is a phrase I'll never say again. He didn't really offer a clear explanation. And eventually they embraced, and he said, I love you. And tearfully, she said, I love you. And it seems like they were going to move on. But take the cameras away. Is there a way for a relationship to move on? If there's no clear resolution, it's just like her saying, I don't want this to end this. And clearly he picked up on that energy, because if she did want it to end the relationship, it would have. So her presence there showed him that she's willing to hear him out.
Okay, well, there's a few things, a few loose ends here. And as for those of you who do watch the show, there's a drop tomorrow. So we'll know more
drop of
tomorrow.
new shows.
Yeah, a drop of new shows. I think the 9th and the 10th episode, or 2 episodes. Here's the deal. So you have a young man who comes on a show to find love and has been with this woman for 2-3 weeks at this point, has proposed to this woman. They're 2 weeks away from going to the altar, and he tells her that he has 3, as he referred to as sperm babies. Now, what we gathered from the conversation that they showed was that he helped a couple that he was friends with start a family. So,
which she said was admirable.
right, and she said it was admirable. But since then, a lot of stuff has come out on the web, right? A lot of people are talking about that Tyler scrubbed his social media.
Yeah, it's gone.
He used to have photos of him with the children. There are photos of him with the children with like #1 dad shirt on. His mother.
Erica, he's an active sperm donor dad. Okay.
His mother.
That's a thing.
So his mother is on social media from earlier posts or older posts saying like, look at my grandchildren or my handsome grandson, or, you know, so clearly there was a relationship there. So now Tyler's camp, some of his friends have gotten on social media to basically, you know, be like, our friend is not a terrible person. It is true that he helped a couple,
Sperm
who
baby.
was 2 women, start a family. And that when the 2 women got divorced, Tyler stepped in more of an active role to, quote, help her out. That's what his side is saying.
Then why would he scrub that would make him look like a saint.
Right.
'Cause he didn't tell her. That's
and
the problem.
here's the thing to me, because a lot of people are going back and forth. There are people who believe that Tyler did a sperm donation and that he was helping them to start their family. Now, there are other people who believe that these are his kids because you're wearing matching pajamas at Christmas. So that would indicate that you're a family, right?
Right.
And I feel like it's people create families in a lot of different ways. I certainly have been very open about my infertility journey, and I'm very open to the idea of how family is created. However, I think what is really tripping a lot of people up is if you are playing the father figure role of 3 children who you are the biological father for, then you have assumed the role and the responsibilities of a father. And regardless of what the talk or the agreement was, which clearly was not handled in a way that the legal system doesn't see him as a father, because word on the street allegedly is that he owes $30,000 in back child support.
How does she know all this?
So-
I actually knew that. I was proud of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if that's
all
the
this?
case, because you didn't cross the T's and dot the I's, then according to the law and according to just perception, you are the father. The other thing is, when people are getting upset about it, this is why it's upsetting to people and why people feel like he absolutely took way too long to tell her the truth, and that this was a plot that he didn't think he was going to get caught up in. And the reason why is because if you are a young woman who has decided that maybe you don't want to date a single dad, which is completely up to an individual to have that right. It may not be because you hate children. You probably love children, but it might have something to do with if the situation is clean, if the situation is messy, and your inability or desire to want to navigate the waters of a family that might still be trying to figure things out. And when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, then you do run into those situations sometimes where like the parents aren't exactly on the same page. There might be some issues there. And as a single person, it is absolutely your right to say, hey, I really like you, but this isn't where I want to be in my life right now. And that's fine. But you have to be upfront with what your situation is, regardless of how these children came to be.
Right. And look, I'll just say this before we move on. I just, and Tori, I'd love for you to get the final thought here, is I consider somebody that donates or gives their sperm.
Sperm Babies is my new band name.
Yeah, you'll have difficulty getting like marquee billing. I had a friend of mine that did a comedy tour and there was an expletive in the title and he was like, "Oh, it's so punk rock, you can't advertise that anywhere." And it's a problem. So but like with something like this that would be considered a noble thing. The fact that he really tried to hide it, I see this no different than you giving somebody a kidney. You're giving somebody life, literally. For you to run and scrub that dog don't hunt. That dog don't hunt.
There's something nefarious about that.
Because that would be like, this is going to be the thing I'm going to tell the producers that will separate me from
That's my
this
whole point, Al.
herd of men.
So this is my point. You're in that weird pod that I think must smell terribly. I always think of the farts that are in there.
It's farts, but it's also Febreze
Yo,
over
and
the top
smell,
of it,
yeah.
which is even worse.
So here's the thing. Why not use that as a storyline? That storyline is so relatable, so right now, that you would have your own edit. You would look really good. So the idea that he hid it makes me think, what else is this dude hiding? So Ashley, is that her
His
name?
3 children.
Yeah,
That's
his
what
3
he's like.
children.
Yeah.
And Ashley was like just trying to process. She's like, do you have a no contact? Like, she was asking all the right questions.
Well, she also asked about the paperwork.
The paperwork, that's what I mean. She was like, legally, are you with this? And he's like, yeah, I have no contact. Like, I don't trust this guy farther than I could spit. I can't, not more than I could spit. Farther.
Yeah. Well, I think it brings up a lot of things because you can really tell by some of the commentary online, because some people are like, if you donate your sperm and they have a child, it's not your child. And it's like, yeah, but also there's a relationship where there's some kind of legally binding agreement.
There's deeper
right?
things
For
here.
instance, Nancy, remember Nancy and Bartiz?
No.
So back on some years ago, on one of the seasons, there was a young woman who was on the show, and she told him that she had donated her eggs and that there were children out there
right. It was a good
who
storyline.
were not hers. She wanted to give and help families who couldn't have children. That is someone who made a donation.
Right.
Because it was an anonymous
She
donation.
doesn't know what's
I think there are
happened there.
legalities to even trying to track those children
Correct.
down. Like, I don't think you
Correct.
can do that.
Correct. It is well known that is a separate thing that you can't even see. So for him to be in the lives is just, I just don't trust. I also think the vetting is a little questionable, but we'll move on after this. I just thought, I wonder about the vetting on these people.
Well, it is I mean, listen.
Maybe they were hoping this would blow up,
Because, we love some mess, okay?
Yeah.
But I hate to see, like, somebody, they were, like, my number one couple. Ashley and
Me
Tyler
too.
were like,
Me
I was
too.
like, oh, my gosh, like, look at this praying man, which a lot of people are like, well, what was he praying about?
Right.
The Lord, don't let her find out.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what was he?
Let it have been 30 days and my deleted folder is completely clean. Yes.
Lord, let my cachet be gone. But what's weird, you're right. And he talked about putting, like, what their baby's name would be. He just he really manipulated
this is
that.
what really got me.
Remember
was when he
that?
was talking about he wanted 7 children.
Yes.
I
You
was
were-
like,
you
well,
have
dang,
half
you
there.
got 3 already. So
Just
don't
you-
worry, Ashley. Just 4 more, pushes.
Wow.
Yeah, that is
I-
a bad
I
call.
don't believe my man. But something that this is a story that I was interested to do because I think it could go either way, and it's going to be one of those stories that's in the eye of the beholder. But Heidi Klum and her daughter posed in lingerie for, I believe it's their clothing line. I'm 99% sure it's their clothing line. And I wanted to know, do you guys look at that as mom-daughter goals, or do you look at it as, ooh?
I cannot imagine doing that with Dr. Cobb.
Right.
But we also are different people.
Right.
Like we just,
Right. Dr. Cobb's a doctor and Heidi Klum's a supermodel and wears lingerie a lot. Can I ask?
I'm like, well, my mother's a professor.
yeah, a doctorate of
Yes.
academics, if you will. But what kind of lingerie is it?
It's lingerie.
It
I
is.
mean,
It's not
it's,
lacy. Okay.
it's not Fredericks of Hollywood, to take it old school. But it's what you would see back in the day as window dressing at a Victoria's Secret.
Gotcha.
Like, it's very sexy,
Okay.
sensual,
Okay.
but I mean midriff cleavage. It's not like nightwear. It's lingerie.
not
That needs to be said.
Okay. Okay.
So that's two ums and a I think that's
I want to say I don't have a problem with it because that's their job if they're selling. Like, I kind of don't have a problem with it. And I also think it's awesome for them to do what they want. I can also not imagine Judy and me doing it, but maybe for like a body positivity campaign, we would have done it.
the body positivity
wrong with
parachute to get out of any situation. I'm in my bra top at this wedding for body positivity. Asshole. No, it doesn't.
It
You
does.
can't use that.
There's representation of different bodies that I see now. That's helpful.
Yeah, but usually
don't
not
know
right next
if
to your
I would-
daughter.
I don't know.
What's our audience saying here?
If I would do that with my mom, I mean, I do know that I wouldn't do that with my mother. I think a part of the thing too is like, I think about like being in like junior high before images of just nudity and innuendo were so readily available. And that's what my male classmates would look at to become excited.
Right.
Ew.
So
Ew.
It
Sperm
definitely
babies.
was.
Those are the
Ew.
things that they would look at. And so when I think about that, it's always like, well, who is the audience? Like, I mean, the audience definitely isn't 100% just people who are looking for that type of merch to purchase for themselves.
Right.
Some of the audience is like,
And they have to be okay with that.
A lot, and that's I think at the essence of what we're talking about. And Tora, I want to hear what the audience is saying.
Okay,
but
so
just,
it's
like,
Heidi's line.
understanding your audience and who's looking at your daughter and you and
Yeah.
you and your daughter.
But isn't that her job? Like, her daughter's job is to be in a swimsuit. It's okay. It's Heidi's line that she owns, is what people are saying. A lot of people are saying no problem. A lot of people calling you out for the Fredericks of Hollywood line, calling you old school.
Yeah, I
You want to
would
go to
say-
Dan Tana's, get a martini?
I would say it's old school, but also I don't know what the I don't ever look at lingerie, so I just remember they had a storefront in L.A. So
Fredericks of Hollywood, my geometry teacher gave us extra credit. So we come in.
What?
So he was like,
How is the story going to end, guys?
I didn't know.
Extra credit.
Does this give
geometry
me a right
teacher.
angle?
This is acute.
my high school
Thank you.
geometry teacher his wife was looking for this particular like perfume, like a fragrance of some sort. And he's like, I can't find it anywhere. Keep in mind, this must have been like 96, 97. So you weren't just hopping on the internet and ordering stuff. And he's like, I can't find it anywhere. It's this company. It's called Fredericks of Hollywood, which I had no idea what Fredericks. So he was like, I'll give like whatever extra credit for anybody who can find this. So the next day he comes in, he's like, okay, guys, sit down. So apparently Fredericks of Hollywood is not something that you guys should be looking for.
It's totally inappropriate.
And
Three of
he's
you guys
like,
are like,
I
"We work there now."
apologize." Yeah, he's like, I apologize to you. I apologize to everyone for the miscommunication. And he's like, I'm so sorry. And so then from that point on, everybody was just like, well, what's Fredericks of Hollywood?
Right.
And
Now
then we
you're
finally
into-
figured it out. And it was like, oh. that
Okay.
was
And let's hear from the audience.
Please.
But what Erica said just kind of leads us to our next thing. So,
Well,
anything?
everyone just wrote in that they really liked extra credit. And I always liked when a teacher did it, like, send me a picture of an otter. You have to read it all the way through, you know?
Yeah.
And for extra credit.
That doesn't describe my life at all.
Yeah.
I never
Okay.
did extra credit.
You did.
Unless it was like to get me up from a D to a C or something. It's like, what if I did extra credit to get this?
I stole extra credit one time.
What do you mean?
What do you mean you stole extra credit?
I'm just going to apologize to Mr. Mulvihill.
Oh my God. Mulvihill?
He was my geometry teacher the second time I
What
took it.
is going on with your geometry teacher?
Wait, you took it twice?
Oh my God.
This is either sad or hot.
That's the story of my life.
True story. He offered us extra credit, and the extra credit question was, what is the origin of Kwanzaa? And I said Africa,
Right.
but it's African American.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I argued with this man who was not black.
Oh. The fact that he argued back at all.
And finally, I was like, oh no, are you really not going to give me this extra credit? And he was like, but it says, I was like,
And you just
Oh my
You-
God.
you
he gave me
used-
the
Naughty
extra
Erica.
credit. And I knew I was wrong. Like, I knew I was wrong.
That is wrong.
I really needed the extra credit. It was my second time taking geometry. How many more times do you want me to be in this room?
my
do
favorite
well
line in the series The Wire was there was a guy that was a protection guy, and he was saying to his leader, at this point we're too far gone. If it's a lie, we got to fight on that lie. And that's what you did, Erica.
I did.
You fought that hill. You
sent
died on that hill.
Yeah, we know it's wrong, but
Kwanzaa.
we are way past. I am
Kwanzaa.
not about to let this white
Yeah.
man
No.
be right, even though we both know he is. That's even worse. He drove home and thought about it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mulvihill.
All right,
You can have your extra credit
Oh
back.
my
that
God.
I don't
deserves-
need it anymore.
You
That-
Kwanzaa that one.
That
Go on.
absolutely deserved an
Okay.
apology. Decades later,
Okay.
some would say too late.
God, that's crazy.
But, you know, that's some. But Erica, whether you knew it or not, and whether I knew it or not, with that old ass Fredericks of Hollywood reference, I brought us back to the 90s.
90s.
A dark time where you couldn't access the movies that you wanted to see, and you had to get Sears catalogs and Victoria's Secret. But there were some good things about the 90s, and Tori, you sent us an article highlighting those positive things. So talk to us about the 90s and how did the 90s treat you?
Great. First of all, a lot of you are writing in that I look green and that am I okay? Do I look green?
You look green.
I did use a new foundation technique. Do I look green? Do
A
I look
little
green?
bit on your face, yeah.
I do?
A little bit.
All right. It
It's
was a new bronzer situation. So I'm fine. I'm a little hungover, but other than that, I'm
Usually
fine.
that makeup is worn by somebody before they go off in the battle in the 14
Really?
It's a little Braveheart.
It is?
No, Tori. I'm
Oh,
messing
okay,
with
okay.
you.
Okay, so this is on Reddit. It said, what was your favorite thing about living through the 90s that you don't experience now? Okay, and a couple things that were repeats that I wanted to bring up. One is being able to leave the house and be completely unreachable, being gone.
That was
right?
my first one.
That's a really
before
big
I even
thing.
looked at it.
Yeah, nobody can contact you. Okay, then also this disconnect creates context that no longer exists. You feel threatened now because anybody can reach you. And then another one is having to call my friends at their house, having to have a conversation with the parents and interacting with a parent.
I miss that.
Me too. My mom would teach boys how to speak. You say, hello, Josh. This is Judy.
I like that.
Then you say,
Yeah.
you wait for Tori. And they would be like, hi, Judy.
You know what else it did? It shows that this person that you're calling comes from somewhere.
Oh
And
no, yeah, they came from the
you're-
Cobb household.
Yes, and
'Cause
like
let me tell you, we were
it
the
lets
template.
people know like this isn't just some ragtag person I can treat any kind of way. It's like there is a fortress around this person, so you need to come correct,
That's
or you're
right.
not coming in
My
here.
mother
Yeah.
said
And
it.
there is a layer of like we are the Cobbs over here, and like
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand how to act when you come in here. There's no this, no that. But if there's none of that, it's just like, oh, it's Erica's house anyway. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, no,
it's
no
a
one ever
level
did
of
that at my
comfort that
house.
it's a level of discomfort as the boy that was calling the Erica Cobbs and Tori Shulmans that I would feel nervous because I knew that I had to come correct,
That's
and I
right.
wanted
Well,
to make sure.
Judy would make you come
especially
correct.
Judy and Roosevelt, because my father. So anytime I called a friend, I would have to say, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. So and So. This is Erica Cobb calling. May I speak with so and so?"
I remember that.
And then there would generally be a pause, like, "Yes, Erica Cobb, you may." And then whoever would get on the phone. Now, I'd have people call my house, and they'd be like, "Can I speak to Uka?" And my dad would say, "What? Can I speak to Uka? Who? Can I speak to? Ain't no Uka live here." And he would just, ain't no the
Dang,
fuck.
that is
Oh, I
And
believe
he's
that.
like, with his
I believe
mush
that.
mouth. You gotta speak to Uka. Can I speak Uka? Uka. They can't even say your name. They can't say your name. They can't call you.
That's good.
I mean,
That's right.
Jeez.
you know what your dad was? He was the original filter.
Yeah.
And
You're
he
totally
did not
right.
let just like you would set your parameters like, hey, 26 to 39.
Sure.
Your dad was like, if you can't remember to say hello when you call, if I can't understand what you're saying, then you're not going to get through. And I do kind of like and miss and appreciate that barrier. And the other thing, in a more general sense, is I like the idea of human interaction.
Agreed,
I think a
that's what I
lot
mean.
of our lives now are just one way. The contactless delivery, they just drop your food off. They used to be a person. You used to like, even if it was time consuming and as it used to be and semi ridiculous, when you used to want to get an airline flight. I remember like listening to my grandparents, they would call American Airlines
Or
and be
travel
like,
agent.
I want to go to Hawaii. And then a woman would be like, when? And they'd be like, 4? And they'd be like, all right. But it was
that day.
there was human, and they'd be like, oh, the sun's going to be down. Why don't you just get in it? There would be humans
agree.
everywhere. And I think that it would curb a lot of the disrespectful
agree.
chat that we see now, because people, everything is, I'm going to get on my live stream and I'm going to tell, this entity why they are the worst, and you can go in and no one's going to stop you, and you're going to call people out their name. Let me tell you something about Erica. But like the idea of, if you had talked to 10 people that day, if you had to talk to people at a lunch cafeteria at your job, I don't know if people's language is as sharp, because there would just be people like, first of all, even though we're at lunch, I'm a Christian woman. Like, I don't want to hear the MF word or the GD word. And you'd be like, yes, ma'am, but I'm mad. But you can still explain yourself. But people would check you along the way, so that like you didn't get to the point where you're a 24-year-old that ain't taking no shit.
Right, right.
And I think that is a consequence of the fact that we don't ever have to really suffer the consequences of saying that literally to somebody's face.
I agree with you. And this applies to adults, just to finish on this topic. My dad's partners would call in the middle of dinner and go, Jerry there? And she'd go, you're calling at dinner time, and I need you to say hi to me, Judy. And I always thought that was fair, too. Okay.
I love that.
Yeah, I always thought that was good.
She's a person, and
yeah,
she needs
she
to
would
be
be
addressed.
so mean. You need to say hello to me first. Okay.
And those
That
people,
wasn't mean. That was just direct.
It was.
and
And my
those-
dad was like, just give me the phone.
I like it. Shout out Judy.
All right. How about this one? The locally owned video store. Just the idea of
yeah,
like
but
going.
I don't miss that,
I
because it was
do.
so competitive. And you never knew
I loved it.
whose dad's car was going to be parked in the parking lot. But when you walked in, you never saw him in the general
He was-
area. It was always very uncomfortable.
He's
'cause
in the
there'd be a
curtain.
curtain.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Mr. So-and-so comes out. You got to act like you don't see him.
And it wasn't, unfortunately, Erica, it wasn't even a curtain, because that's kind of quiet and discreet. It was shells.
It was beads.
Yeah,
Mine
it was
had
like,
beads.
so you have to like, you're making a disgusting soundtrack as you're coming out of the triple X.
That is so true. To this day, also people are asking, are Jeff and Sam on this podcast? No, we've kicked them out. No, I'm kidding. They're just, Jeff is in the woods and Sam's in Disneyland at her annual trip, which is very exciting. Someone
Stop calling it an annual trip.
She does. She goes
She
every
goes
year.
5 times a year. It's not
She doesn't
annual.
go
For
5
Halloween.
times
She
a year
goes a
anymore.
lot.
No,
Erica.
she doesn't
She
anymore.
doesn't go once.
No, in
She-
LA she did. But
yeah.
not now. You're wrong. You're wrong.
It's not 5
You're wrong. It's also $1 million to get to Disneyland, and it's ridiculous.
I fell asleep to a CNBC story the other day about how expensive Disneyland is and how it is
going up.
pricing people out and how much the tickets have jumped.
It's terrible.
Every year. Erica, I would argue, Tori, would you say for a family of 3 going for 4 days, you should expect to spend $10,000?
Oh yeah, easily.
Everything is so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's so expensive. Even the
Concerts?
people who are pretending to go on trips can't even pretend to
Nope.
go anymore.
Nope.
It's that expensive.
You're right. The influencers are like, well, it's a staycation time. you know what I mean?
You can't even
You're right.
pretend to be places.
Totally right.
Like, I am not even kidding you. I have gone through stuff like I can't. It's like, it's embarrassing to pay that much. Like, I feel like I'm being swindled.
You
Thank
are.
you.
Like,
Okay.
honestly,
You are being swindled.
honestly, let me tell you, I had 2 free rooms. This is remember when I was in Mexico for the hurricane, like
Yes.
a few years ago?
Is that when you hurt yourself with the hot tub? Or that was
No.
another
No,
one?
that was a different
Before.
Mexico trip.
I
So
remember
we,
that.
We
You
go
had
to
footage,
Mexico
yes.
a lot, right?
Mhm.
So we got 2 free nights, honeymoon suite, because that was what we stayed in the first time we were there. Now, okay, keep in mind. So that tells you about, like, we're having a really nice vacation, right? We have 2 free nights in this room. We were gonna go for a week. Guess how much the trip was with 2 free nights, 5 days that we were paying for, just
a hotel?
the hotel.
Okay, so let's say it's $1,000 a night, so that'd be like $5,000.
I was gonna say like 2,400
$2,400 total.
total.
Oh, hell no! It's like a nice hotel. It's gonna be like $800 a night to
Really?
$1,000. Yeah,
What?
I'd say five. What are you talking about? You're in Hawaii, the honeymoon suite.
No, this is Mexico.
Oh, Mexico. Okay, maybe a little bit
Mexico
less.
used to be this Mexico.
Give me a number. Give me a final
I'm
number for the
going,
5 nights.
and I think this is high for Mexico. I would say 2,400 to 2,600 for the week.
I'd say $3,300.
It's $25,000.
Okay.
My knee just hurt.
$25,000.
My knee.
There would be cartel bosses that'd be like, "Are you kidding me?"
$5,000,
breathe.
and we have 2 nights free.
What the
2
F?
nights free.
Can someone do the
Wait,
math?
I
What's
need-
25,000 divided by? That's 5,000 a night.
Yeah, yeah. I'll keep it all the way 100. Okay.
Damn.
Like, I don't
God
fake the funk on things. Yeah. No. I do not.
What do you
I do
get for
not.
$5,000 a day?
You should
I
get
mean,
certain.
it's all inclusive, but it's no different all inclusive than the other rooms that are
Right.
all inclusive.
Yeah,
$25,000 for I wish, if I am lying, I'm dying.
It's not
like,
pesos. It wasn't pesos.
No, it was
Okay.
not pesos.
Oh my God.
that's something you find out at the desk as you're counting out pesos. They're like, "Oh, that's dollars." Okay, we're gonna
That's
head
a
back
whole
to the
other
airport.
thing.
That
Yeah.
is
Someone said you can go on a whole African safari for that amount of money. Tori's
right.
knee
But
hurt.
now here's a question now for whoever said you can't. Maybe you can't do that anymore.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
Honestly, I do not think you can. We are going to go. We're going to Mexico. We chose a different week. We're not staying at that resort.
Yeah.
Because that's just ridiculous.
It's
like,
ridiculous.
why?
So sad.
That's like if somebody was like, if you and Anthony told me you guys spent $25,000 to stay in this hotel for a week, I'd be like, what's really going on at
Yeah,
that
that's
hotel?
insane.
Because those are prices in which like we're going to be doing some stuff in here,
Like blow?
in which we need.
I said it.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's assumed with a regular suite. I'm talking about 25,000 is like we didn't see nothing.
Like happy ending. Someone wrote that. I didn't say that.
I
Someone
didn't-
wrote that in.
Can I just say? Can I say
Someone
something
wrote
since we're
that.
discussing happy endings?
I didn't
I-
Where is this podcast going?
I worked for Carnival Cruise Lines for 2 years as a comic on board.
Well, I can't wait
and
for
so
this.
I knew all the people that worked in the different shop girls and the massage girls, and the massage girls on every boat said, half of every dude that went on there was asking for that, and they were with their wives on a couples massage. This is a couples trip.
So maybe it's an open marriage situation. Is that what we're talking
with
about?
everybody on every cruise?
It's a lot of open.
Yes. No, I think it's hey, what's up?
Oh my
And they're not trying to make me laugh. They were just like talking like this is a part of their job. Oh, they're like, oh, every guy.
They
said it so casually,
not,
Erica.
It's not shocking because I told you when I worked for a major hotel chain and I was 16 years old, and I would have dudes come up to me with their key, and
Their key.
And say
I
what?
remember one guy told me, he was like, yeah, you need to come up. He's like, this is my room number. And I was standing there like the first time it happened, like I'd
be
froze
so
because I
confused.
was so like I'm 16 years old. Like I'm a child for starters, but he was so matter of fact about it. And then when I started tearing up, he goes, stop being a baby. I go, I am a baby.
Dude,
I
Oh,
was a
so
baby.
sick.
I just
And I went to my manager, and my manager goes, okay, well, you don't have to work in this section anymore. It was a conference center.
And they just let him do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
wow.
like, you don't have to work in this section.
I think for a lot of people, hotels are their escape from whatever they deem their life to be, whatever prison they deem their life to be, or a cruise and
Yeah,
whatever.
well,
we're
you're
talking-
about to get your butt up in prison.
Yes, and
That's
I
why
will.
hotels are so gross. Hotels
Yes.
are so gross. I just think there's everywhere.
There has to be
Ugh.
because
I said
Okay, well,
Okay, I'm sorry,
I
I'm sorry.
travel a lot, so I'm
Okay,
going to
we're not
pretend
saying
like
that.
there isn't everywhere.
but like you can't not know now, Erica, because
I don't want to think about it. Do you
What
know
do you
how
think
much
they're
my
sending
hotel rooms are?
Cuba Gooding Jr.
$25,000.
It just after a while, you know what I would love to see one time, go to a hotel and just say closed for cleaning.
The whole hotel?
Yes.
Oh my
That's not how
Be-
business works.
I know,
Al.
but like
it's called
but
rotations.
a business in which every person that's going to go in there is naked. They got people have stuff on
You're
them.
really making this hard for.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Yeah,
Uh,
you're
can-
making
can
it.
I
You're
ask
making
this
very
as-
hard.
Black
And
lights.
we're wrapping.
Yes,
We're wrapping
I
up,
want to
everyone.
ask you guys really quickly.
Okay.
We're going to leave on a positive note.
Good. Not
Oh,
okay.
great.
In the room.
Okay.
Okay.
So happy endings. No, I'm just kidding.
We're having a happy ending
To-
though, right
today is Sarah and I's 2-year anniversary.
now.
Thank
Oh,
you. But I do want to ask you this. We are celebrating the day that we met, like our first date. Do you celebrate that or the day that you and Anthony or you and Brooks said we're making it official? Because is that a real day? Do you say, are we going steady? Like, I think
We
it's
had a
easy to
real-
remember your first date.
We have a moment in which we like turned and we were no longer friends, so we celebrate that quietly.
What
but
do you mean you turned and we're no longer friends?
like he turned to me and I turned to him, and it was like, oh,
Is this a perfume commercial that you were living?
Dior forever. No, we just knew. So we quietly celebrate that one, and then we like say the other one, but we really secretly like the other one.
Please
more.
tell me that you celebrate by doing that exact same turn every year. It's
No, but
time.
we have a lot of. We eat a baklava. 'cause
That's
it was
awesome.
there. Yeah.
Very
yeah.
cool. Kabi, what about you?
We celebrate the first time we went to Mexico.
Yes. Yes, the much cheaper days when it was 4,000 a night.
I know.
Guys,
Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, notification button, share with a friend.
yes.
Yes. People say happy anniversary. It's also Brooks's
Thank
birthday,
you.
my husband's birthday.
Happy birthday,
Weird
babe.
connection there, but also my partner and I do both, says Jamie McCann. We also just want to let you know and end on sperm babies.
Whoever left that, I love you. We love y'all for joining us. Thank you for riding with us. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye,
Thanks.
guys.
Bye.